finish. You've got a price target now of 230 on Nvidia. Before we get into what's driving that, when you think about 2025, did it surprise you where Nvidia ultimately finished the year?
I don't think it was a shock where it finished the year. Having said that, we entered 2025 with all of these concerns. Was DeepSeek going to mess up NVIDIA's business model, then China not allowing chip shipments, or the US not allowing chip shipments into China, but then China not taking chips. And so when you think about where NVIDIA ended up, given those headwinds, it's really impressive.
Okay, great point, given those headwinds. So now you've got a $230 price target. You're obviously bullish on this one, and you said that NVIDIA essentially delivered to expectations. What gets it there? What's the catalyst that you see for this year?
I think for this year, it's the same thing we saw in 2025, which is regardless of what happens externally, there is so much demand for AI that even some road bumps, if you will, aren't enough to offset the spending. And in particular, I think some catalysts are, it looks like China can spend again. That's been taken out of numbers, right? You've had articles talking about the ByteDance, for instance, looking to spend 16 billion on NVIDIA chips. You've got the U.S. allowing the Middle East to import chips, which was something of a headwind last year. We had all these large deals announced that really couldn't be consummated. And you've got the neoclouds and the model builders spending more, right? We just had Musk buy a new building for Colossus. So I think all those things are what propel NVIDIA.
How much does China matter to, what your models use in terms of getting to that target? Because when many analysts last year obviously had to take out China, but now that they can service China again, how much does that matter?
I haven't built anything back into my model for China. I'm waiting to actually see evidence that the chips have shipped. And I think in general, when you're looking at sell side models, they really haven't been shifted yet to assume China revenue. So from a consensus perspective, I think anything they see is all additive.
And when you think about the Blackwell and Rubin revenue targets for 2026, where do you see that for NVIDIA? When you think about the $500 billion number, is that a floor or ceiling? They
want us to, or they're definitely conveying the message that it's more of a floor than a ceiling. Having said that, again, if you look at my numbers, they're still a little bit below what NVIDIA has given us, because to get to that 500 billion, you need such large, significant growth off what are already such large numbers that it's almost a bit difficult to comprehend. But I mean, certainly the company thinks they can do more.
Okay, so you say the company thinks they can do more. Where do you see that coming from?
Well, again, I think it comes back to you've got all these new opportunities, whether it's China, which I don't think really is in their estimates, but some of these new builds in other geographic areas that hadn't really happened. Certainly, you've got OpenAI and SoftBank and Oracle who've said they're going to spend significantly to bring on new data centers. I think there's a significant diversity of projects out there that they can sell into, and I think that's what gives them confidence in their 26 projections.
Matthew, let me ask you this about margins. When you think about NVIDIA and the gross margins that they've maintained, I mean, they've had high numbers there. I mean, beyond 70%, we're thinking about projections through 2027. That is a big statement, especially when you think about, hardware. How do you see that? Do you see are you concerned at all about any margin risk, or do you see them being able to see that through?
I think in the near term, there's not a ton of margin risk. So margin risk comes down to competition. I think that, well, you do have, for instance, Google executing really well. At the same time, Google is ostensibly a competitor to a lot of the companies that would require, whether it's hardware or whether it's data center services. Beyond that, you look at the competition out there. AMD is certainly a viable competitor, but right now their revenues are so much lower than Nvidia's that they don't really have much of an impact on the market. And so for 2026, I don't see any risk at all with Blackwell. And then if you remember what caused margin compression last time, it was not really competition. It was execution around Blackwell. So you get to the end of the year, certainly they're going to have to execute on Rubin to keep margins where they are. But assuming they execute, I think it's reasonable to expect the margins remain around these levels.
I want to go back to the point you were making about competition, and when you think about the competitive landscape for Nvidia, is there any concern about AMD, for instance, creeping in more?
I think over time, AMD is a formidable competitor, but you look at it from just a revenue perspective this year, you've got AMD coming off a year where they probably closed the year doing a bit over $2 billion a quarter in revenue in GPUs. With Nvidia, I mean, I'm looking at $50 billion in GPU revenue in the current quarter, and so AMD can certainly take more share, assuming that OpenAI executes on its plans. AMD revenues should ramp significantly late 26, 2027. But at the same time, what's more important to NVIDIA is AMD able to do another, let's call it $10 billion in revenue in 2027, but rather, is this market growing 30%, 40%, 50%, right? Those deltas in total growth are going to have a much more significant impact on NVIDIA, given how large their scale is versus how successful AMD is this year and next.
If the U.S. company is permitted to sell its H200 graphic processing units in China, ByteDance intends to spend roughly 100 billion yuan, $14.29 billion, on artificial intelligence chips from Nvidia in 2026, a significant increase from roughly 85 billion yuan in 2025, according to a report published on Wednesday in the South China Morning Post. This year, Nvidia's stock increased by around 40%, and the business launched numerous new initiatives that will keep it at the forefront of the artificial intelligence revolution. Considering that I finished creating a video on the company in 2025, I have examined the company's long-term goals in my What's Next for Nvidia stock in 2026. I was mistaken, though, and Nvidia investors get additional positive news with Intel's 8K filing dated December 29th. The filing states that Nvidia paid $5.0 billion, or $23.28 per share, to complete its investment in Intel. That investment is currently a huge profit, given that Intel ended the Monday trading session at $36.68. Here are some reasons why I believe Nvidia's partnership and investment in Intel was a crucial step for the business, as well as what investors might anticipate from it. Nvidia invested in Intel. Why? The long-term goal of Nvidia was to control the whole compute industry. The corporation had to start over and devise a new strategy after regulatory obstacles prevented it from acquiring ARM. In an effort to overcome this obstacle, the business collaborated with MediaTek to design its ARM cores, which were later incorporated into its superchips. For superchips, this worked out nicely, but not so well for anything that would be used in consumer electronics. According to Tom's Guide, the long-rumored laptop chip has been postponed until late 2026. Qualcomm released its Snapdragon X CPUs for PCs while Nvidia was battling delays. Despite the AI PC's branding and Copilot promotion, they haven't been able to gain any substantial market share because of the poor experience that Windows on ARM offers. This made it quite evident to Nvidia that using ARM to compete in the laptop market is a losing strategy. To win, Nvidia need x86. It was unable to obtain an x86 license from AMD or Intel. You read correctly. Nvidia would have to obtain licenses from both businesses. When AMD created the 64-bit x86 architecture many years ago, it truly won the contest for best architecture. Under their cross-licensing architecture agreements, AMD gives Intel the AMD 64 license, and Intel gives AMD the original x86 architecture license. With little other choice, Nvidia started collaborating with Intel covertly as early as 2024, long before the investment agreement was made public, according to Tom's Hardware. Nvidia made the decision to invest in Intel for a number of reasons. It had been collaborating with Intel for approximately a year, and its long-term goals required it to keep Intel solvent. Intel is developing 14A, a manufacturing process that shows great promise and could become a superior method. Being the first to access the greatest node is a big advantage, and this investment will allow Nvidia to become Intel's preferred customer in its factories. Like the ARM deal, a full purchase would have been prevented. As an added plus, Nvidia is gaining favor with President Donald Trump by following his example, as the U.S. government has already spent $8.9 billion in Intel. What can we anticipate from the partnership between Nvidia and Intel? The collaboration's main goal is to make Intel CPUs compatible with NVLink. This will lead to the adoption of Intel's specially designed CPUs for Nvidia in data centers, superchips, but with Intel rather than MediaTek. According to Lip-Bu Tan, CEO of Intel, Nvidia's AI and accelerated computing leadership will be complemented by Intel's leading data center and client computing platforms, along with our process technology, manufacturing, and advanced packaging capabilities to enable new breakthroughs for the industry. Additionally, the firms are developing system-on-chips that use NVIDIA RTX GPU chiplets. Every year, 150 million computers are sold. According to Wired, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang stated, "We're now developing a system on a chip that fuses two processors into one giant SoC, and that will become a new class of integrated laptops that the world has never seen before." It is anticipated that the anticipated chips and integrations will take 3 to 4 years to complete. The best-case scenario would be for the first chips to market in late 2027, because the businesses started working in 2024. According to notebookcheck.net, rumors suggest that Serpent Lake, the first chip in the upcoming partnership, will have an integrated RTX Rubin GPU. Over time, this partnership will give NVIDIA greater flexibility. We can anticipate that the following generation of Feynman chips will be based on Intel, although redesigning the Feynman chips to use Intel cores rather than MediaTek cores was probably too late when the partnership started. This would therefore make it possible to introduce smaller superchips with Intel CPU cores, such the GB10. As a result, we will be able to purchase compact devices that can run cutting-edge AI models in addition to any normal software, including games, without any problems. As a customer, I see one negative aspect of this agreement. Intel might gradually stop working on GPU development. That would leave consumers with a duopoly of AMD and Nvidia, which is never beneficial because it keeps costs high and slows down progress. What are Nvidia's analyst ratings? In his research note from December 29th, which I received, Bank of America analyst Vivek Arya reaffirmed a buy rating and the target price of $275 for Nvidia stock. The target price, which is within Nvidia's historical forward-year PE ratio range of 25 to 56, is based on 28 times his earnings projection price-to-earnings ratio for calendar year 2027, excluding cash. Stephen Guilfoyle, a seasoned analyst, has increased his price estimate for Nvidia stock to $235. With a $300 target price, Nvidia is ranked as a top choice by Cantor Fitzgerald. Bank of America raised its price estimate for Intel from $34 on December 16th to $40, noting the possibility of victories in wafer design or advanced packaging at Intel Foundry. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
So Is OpenAI going to go public in 2026, and is that going to be a seminal event for?
I think early 27.
Okay.
They could file maybe by the late 26, but I think that's the thing. Like SpaceX, you think about Anthropic, you think about OpenAI. Look, the reality is that people talk about bubble. Some of the best companies that haven't even gone public yet, and I think there's a supply demand for big growth names, and that's why, to me, I think investors that are saying it's a bubble, tech's done, they're doing it from the 25th floor of a New York City office building or Metro North, right? I mean, the reality is like for someone like me that sees it globally, sees the demand to supply is 12-1 for Nvidia chips today in Asia.
But here's the question: is there enough energy out there to meet that supply? Because that's one of it's the biggest challenge going forward.
Look, if you think like the thing to me that like, if you're just like, what could spoil the AI party? Right. It's not about demand, fourth industrial revolution. It's not about like the use cases. It's energy and regulation. And look, energy, that's why like, you look what's happened on nuclear. You saw the TAE deal with, obviously Trump Media. You saw what Google's doing in terms of them buying their own energy company. I mean, energy is the biggest restriction in the U.S., but I continue to believe like nuclear is going to be the play there.
CES, it's 250, 300,000 people descend on Vegas for it. And it's been going there for 40 years. I've been going to this thing. This one feels like we might get like a seminal announcement coming out of this, whether it's a product, a service, an investment, a deal. It just feels like maybe this CES might be something where something really material pops out of Vegas.
Yeah, I agree. Because like, look, for so many years, CES is like, oh, great, a refrigerator that talks to you, a cool drone. Now it's really become like central to when you think about the AI revolution. I think when you talk about chips, when you look what's coming out of AMD, I think Nvidia is really going to double down on robotics. I think quantum is another one. If you go back a year ago, that's where Jensen was sort of quantum's like 10, 15 years away. Quantum stock sold up. I actually think there's going to be a lot more bullish when it comes to quantum. And look, I know like half the companies that I know that are going there, they're not officially there. Yeah. Why are they going there? They're not going there to go to the Cosmo or go to the Wynn for dinner. They're going because they're looking for acquisition.